what the left now supports. And don't worry, don't you worry. We will back this up with actual evidence because that's what we do here. Not all Democrats, not even all liberals, but a significant swath of the radical left support these things now. So we have number one, riots. Number two, stabbings. Number three, segregation. This is not a joke. Number four, government spying. Number five, socialism. Number six, book burning. And number seven, cancer, which we saw yesterday. We'll see a little redo of that again today. You may say, come on, Dan. That sounds awfully dramatic. You're saying people on the left, on the radical left, support riots, stabbing, segregation, spying, socialism, book burning, and cancer. That's exactly what I'm saying. The woman in Ohio was about to be stabbed from what we saw on the police cam. What would you have the police officer do? Use foul language to stop it? Get the Wonder Woman lasso to lasso the right arm? What exactly would you have them do? So let's go through one by one. Modern left. Again, I always knew the left was nuts, but I never thought they'd be this nuts this publicly. GQ magazine, headline, Laura Bassett, why violent protests work? Are all in for riots now. Wow. They even interviewed this professor about it. This was an actual article, folks. An actual article in Gentleman's Quarterly. If that was in a conservative outlet, you'd be in jail for treason. The left now is all in for knife fights, apparently. Knife fights. We're defending knife fights now? Yes. I showed you this tweet yesterday, but I'll show you again today. Here is a liberal activist. This was on her Twitter account, folks. This is not hidden. It's not on a private blog. It's not in a Dear Diary Jim Acosta segment. This is on a social media account on Twitter for the world to see. Quote, teenagers have been having fights, including fights involving knives, for eons. We don't need police to address these situations by showing up to the scene and using a weapon against one of the teenagers. Y'all need help. I mean that sincerely. Oh, we get that you mean it. And they don't support stabbings. What else could that possibly be? Stay away from the knife fights. Let the knife fights happen. We're supporting knife fights now and riots publicly. GQ put that out. That's not a blog, a private internal diary. Here's Valerie Jarrett, former disgraced advisor to disgraced President Barack Obama. This is on Twitter. People can actually see this. It's called social media, not private media. Valerie Jarrett, quote, a black teenage girl named Ma'Khia Bryant was killed because a police officer immediately decided to shoot her multiple times in order to break up a knife fight. Demand accountability. Fight for justice. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. Oh my gosh, this is real. This is real. This is really happening right now. I bet you thought that was a joke with our little zinger. Riots, stabbing, segregation, spying, socialism, cancer, book burning. You thought that was a joke, right? You didn't think I would produce the receipts? Riots and stabbings. Come on, segregation, Dan. The left doesn't support segregation. You're making that up. The left is the party of tolerance, diversity, integration, a colorblind society. You believe that? You actually believe that? You really believe that? I'm sorry, you're so stupid. Here we go, Yahoo News. Columbia University's ultra-woke idea. Segregated graduation ceremonies. Tristan Yang, March of 2021. Did you make that headline up? No, he says, he's very polite. No, sir. No, sir, I did not. You sent that over to me. Here's a Washington Examiner. And then an actual story, Andrew Mark Miller. Boston Hospital set to offer preferential care based on race. Not a joke. This isn't Duffel Blog or The Onion or the Babylon Bee. These are real stories. Boston Hospital, you walk in there and you're white, you're in trouble. Gosh, those dastardly conservatives. No, that's not the conservatives you claim are racist, doing racist things like segregating a hospital. That's you liberals doing that. That's you guys. Here's a story my buddy Jason Rance sent to me this morning at KTTH. Seen Jason on Fox. The Washington Department of Health lets providers deny vaccines to white people for equity. Riots, stabbings, segregation, spying, socialism, cancer, book burning. You thought I was making that up, right? All right, Dan, some of them support riots. Made your point. Stabbings and knife fights, saw that too. Some of them support segregation. Gosh, I wonder where they got that idea from. They got it from Democrats, Southern Democrats who supported Jim Crow. Of course, they got it from Democrats. Democrats have always loved segregation. You doubt that? You don't know history? Open a book, you dunce. It was liberals. It was Southern Democrats. They were the ones who were supporting Jim Crow. Segregation's always been their bailiwick. Always. They don't support government spying. I saw your handy chart there. Really? Story's a little older, but still from the last decade, 10 years. Los Angeles Times, Republicans oppose, but Democrats support NSA surveillance, poll says. I only bring that up because they loved the spying on the Donald Trump campaign. So much so, they invented euphemisms for it. It wasn't spying, it was unauthorized surveillance. Whatever. Socialism? Democrats don't support socialism, Dan. Come on, you're really being dramatic. Ha! Here we go. NBC News by Nathan Robinson, author of Why You Should Be a Socialist. Not a joke. Not a joke. Headline, NBC News. Millennials support socialism because they want to make America great, but for everyone. Does that include the death, torture, and political prisons that have accompanied every single socialist regime throughout history? I'm just asking. Does that come with it? Does that come with it? The socialism part? I didn't know I supported political prisons, political torture, the lack of civil liberties, government spying, segregation, knife fights, violent stabbings, and riots. I didn't know that. Well, you know it now. You know it now because I helped you know it. Support cancer? Yeah. Here were the comments from yesterday. I showed this yesterday. The Washington Post comment section, they did a piece on me. It says, it's never good when you find yourself cheering on cancer. But here I am doing just that. That's MDB 1964 at the Washington Post. Now, because I don't like repeating shows, I said to Guy this morning, hey, Guy, can you put this together for me? What about, I got to add this riot, stabbing, segregation. You get the whole thing. And I mentioned the whole cancer thing kind of as an aside because it's me. But he said to me, he goes, hey, remember, Rush, God rest his soul, when he died, there were a bunch of liberals celebrating the cancer. I said to him, no joke. I said, listen, if it's going to take a while to find it, don't, because I didn't have anything about Rush and the cancer. He goes, no, it'll take me 2 seconds. And sure enough, what was it? He sent me an email. No less than 2 minutes later, he sent me this gem off Twitter by a Mike Drucker. It's easy to make fun of Rush Limbaugh right now, but it's important to remember that he also brought a lot of people a lot of joy by dying. It's Mike Drucker. Took Guy, what did it take you, 60 seconds to find that, Guy? Maybe less. So, again, we just produced the evidence here. Riot, stabbing, segregation, spying, socialism, cancer, book burning. Here's the book burning stuff, again, in case you think we're just pulling all this stuff out of our caboose and making it up because we were bored on a Thursday. Wall Street Journal, Amazon won't sell books framing LGBTQ plus identities as a mental illness. Company states policy in response to inquiry by several Republican senators over recent removal of book by a conservative author. We're not even book burning, it's worse. You're not even allowing books to be printed now in some cases. Look at this New York Times article. Dr. Seuss books are pulled and a cancel culture controversy erupts. Riots, stabbings, segregation, spying, socialism, cancer, and book burning. All right, the cancer one maybe is a stretch, but because it involved a comment about me personally, I decided to throw that in there.